All right, so today we're in the shop working on an old motor today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together this whole small block. I've had it for a long time and it just needs to be assembled. I've measured everything. I've gapped the rings if they needed to be. I don't remember if I had to gap them or not, but I know I've measured absolutely everything on it. The crank's already in it, as you can see. Crank's in it. It moves nice and smooth. Just barely touch it and it moves like it's supposed to. So we're just ready to put her all together. I guess that's really it. So what we'll do, we'll start assembling it, knock some pistons in it. I got some aluminum cylinder heads for it sitting, I don't know if you can see them. We're right over there on the shelf. Let's see if I can see them on the camera. Yep, there they are in the bags. So we got some aluminum heads for it to go on it. Got a Lanati full roller cam for it. Got some roller lifters, rockers for it, push rods. Everything's here. As long as I don't have to, as long as I don't mess up, you know, everything will be here, and I didn't mess up ordering parts. So we'll get it all together and have this nice little small block. I started this motor well before making the channel. I actually started videoing for the channel then, and I hated the videos I did for it. So I do have some videos on it. We're not going to use them. They're awful. But here we go. We'll put this thing together and go with it. All right, so here we are. We're ringing pistons. As you can see, we're each in the box. We have 7 of them finished. Yes, I've checked all the gaps. I've checked all the ring end gaps and everything. So I left this one to do right here. So we'll start. We got a naked piston. This is the oil control rings. We'll set those on the pack. Now this is very simple. What I do is I start with a wrist pin looking at me, open the oil ring, slide it over, no big deal. That thing falls right in. Then you got the 2 little bitty rings that go for the oil ring. Alright, so then you turn the piston a 3rd turn. It's right here. You wind up about right here somewhere. Take the ring and it'll drop right in beside that oil control ring. Kind of start ringing them around. And you'll get around about that far. Just keep pushing it in the hole, pushing it as you go around. Now you want to grab the tail of it right here and pull it down. And right here's the key part. You want to make sure you don't scratch the piston. So you pull it out and it should drop right in. Boom, just like that. Now, so you can see it again. We'll turn the piston to a 3rd turn. And we'll do it again. Probably the opposite direction. So I'm going to try to get a little closer. So now you're going to sit it right here. It drops right in right here, just like so. Slide her around, spin her around, pull it down, pull it down, pull it down, pull it down, and it drops right in. Now we go for the 2nd groove, which is right here in the pack. There's a dot on the top. I've already checked them. I've set them all in the right direction, so I'm not going to show you that exactly. So you take the 2nd ring, set it in the groove here. Oh, sorry, 2nd groove. All right, so there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can set it in like this. This is how I typically do it. So you set it in just like so. Lift up on it and spin it around. Don't scratch the top of the piston with it. And then you start kind of walking her around here as you go around. And then you grab the tail of it. You gotta be real careful. Don't scratch down the side of the piston and don't drop in this 1st groove, because when you do, it's fun to get out. And then once it falls in, which it did not. Why did it not fall in? Oh, tail of the ring, the back side of the ring wasn't all the way in. There's that one. Then you turn the piston. Sorry, you set that ring. So you find, what I do is I find the top of the oil ring. So it's right. The gap in the top of the oil ring is right here. So I'll turn the oil ring. I'll put 1 gap at the wrist pin here, and then you turn it this way. And reach down here, we grab the last ring. So here's the other way you can do it. You can set it in just like this, and set the tail in. It works the same way, and it just walks right around it. And you grab the tail, drop it on, boom, and now you have a full set of pistons ringed. That's it. Straight, simple. It's a little more complicated with a dome, but not really. They also make a ring plier. You squeeze, and when you squeeze it, you slide it over, and you open it up, and it falls right on. You can use those too. I don't like them because they do have a tendency to want to break rings, but there we are. Got all 8 pistons ringed up, ready to go. All right, well, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start knocking pistons into the motor. So I'm gonna set you on the tripod and start knocking pistons in, and we'll put most of that on a time lapse. I'll probably knock 1 or 2 in on camera, but or in normal motion, normal speed. There's the word I'm looking for. All right, let's try that again. So I just started a video and realized that I had the wrong piston in my hand for the side I was working on. So, you know, it is what it is. It happens every now and then. So, not a big deal. So here we are. You take the cap off, you grab your bearing. Be very careful not to touch the face of the bearing. There's a lock or a tang, as some people call it. I call it a lock. You put it locked into the lock on the rod right there. And then you go to this side of the rod and you slide right in place. No problems, all gooder. Now, we'll set this piston right here in the hole just like this so it won't fall nowhere. And then we grab this one on this side. We go ahead and prep it for the opposite side of the crankshaft, doing the same thing. You'll see a lock right here in the bearing, or in the rod cap. A lock, put it together, boom, it goes just like that. Now that guy's set and ready to go. Now what you're gonna do, take you a little bit of assembly lubricant, put it right here on the bearing face, which I'm trying not to pour all over the place. Not doing a very good job apparently, because I just dumped it everywhere. It's alright. I was working with the wrong hand there, so now you just kind of rub the assembly lube through. You take what's left, because I got it all over my hand, and we'll wipe the next cylinder wall down with it, because I already started with and prepped that one, so now, there we go, most of that's on that cylinder wall there. And what's left, we'll rub on the skirt of the piston, and we'll put the dot on the piston to the front of the motor. See the dot on the piston right there? And then the tang the chamfered edge on the bearing goes to the back. So now, we'll set it down the cylinder wall without beating up on the cylinder wall. That's a very important part. Don't hit the cylinder wall. And then I'm going to set it off to the edge just like that for a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piston ring compressor. Alright. Squeezing pliers. Oh, before I go anywhere else, probably should grab my hammer so we can swing and knock it in there. Hey, don't do that. It was laying here. There you go. Got it. So now we got my hammer, so I can knock it in. Okay, so take the piston ring compressor and you grab on the ring squeezer, just like so. Squeeze her down. Get her kind of flushed on the piston here, sort of, kind of. And we're going to set her in the cylinder bore right there. And she'll fall right in, or should. There she goes. And you take your hammer, just like she is right here, and you just kind of set her in. Check and make sure your rod's pointing down like it belongs, straight on the crankshaft. And you take the end of the hammer and no, I'm just kidding. Use the wood side of the hammer. Except for we already have a boo-boo. So, apparently I wasn't squeezing the rings correctly. So one of the rings popped out. And it's always the oil ring, and it was this time too. So, now let's set that up one more time. So we grab the ring compressor, set her over top, push the rod up far enough where it won't hurt enough, where it's not going to get in the way. Take your ring squeezer pliers right here. Hook it in. Hook it in. Move this out the way. Set that up just like so. Take your piston, just like before. Take your hammer and there she is. She's in. And now what you got to do is come to the bottom side, which I know y'all can't see, and just pull the crank to where it's at the lowest position. I'll move the camera so you can see what happens. Alright, so now I'm going to try not to be in the way too much. What you do is you reach in here and you grab the rod right here. Here's the rod. And we just tap it in from the top. So you're just guiding the rod around it, making sure it doesn't catch on anything on the way by. Oh, and that's what you don't want to do. Just gently tapping the piston on in there just like you're supposed to. And there it is, it's all the way in. Now you just double check your bearing tang here, or your bearing, to make sure it didn't slide out any. And then we reach up top where we set that bearing rod cap at. Not bearing. Keep saying the wrong words here. And the nuts. And this guy here gets a little bit of assembly lubricant. If you were going to check the bearing size with, say, plastic gauge or something, you would not do this. But, like I said, I've already checked everything. So, there it is. A little bit of assembly lube. And then it should slide right on with no problems. Just like that. You take one rod nut, two rod nuts on there, and you take your little bitty impact gun and you just run them up until they touch. That's it. That's it for now. Run them up until they touch. Then you grab the rod, walk it back and forth. As long as it walks back and forth, you know you did your job right. And then you zap them just a little bit farther than that. Or at least that's how I do it. Alrighty, so here we are. We're back. So we got the motor put back together for the most part. Turns over nice and easy. Bring her back to TDC here. And there she is, back at TDC. So now we're going to throw a camshaft and a timing chain on it. Alrighty, speed stick. This is a Lenati camshaft. I think it's a 550, 570 lift, something like that. On a 118 or 218, 224 at 50, something of that nature. Brand new camshaft, ready to be installed. So I got it a while back, and we wiped it and soaked it down with a little bit of transmixing fluid and oil and stuff. Looks all brand new and nice like it's supposed to. So now we're just going to install her. There we go, going in. Now you want to be real sweet and careful with her. You actually should be doing this with the motor upside down, but we're going to do it like we are now. So, and they say to do it with the motor upside down because it keeps the cam lobes from beating up on the main part of the bearing where the cam rides at. But I think we're going to be just fine. We're going nice and smooth so far. So now from here, what you're going to have to do is you have to kind of walk the cam in, because that's unfortunately just how it works. So now, stupid camera died again. So I stopped. So all you now do is you spin the camshaft as you go, and it'll drop right in. There it goes. You just push her in. She's in. So now you take the timing chain set right here, set her up, and you find the dot on the chain right here. There's the dot. And we set this up right here. Where's the crankshaft? Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the motor here, Matt. We're on crack today. So now all you do is you take and lay it in. And we have to set the cam dial pin about right there. So we'll slide her off, turn her till her dial pin's where we want it. Just like this. And then put her back together. So let's see if we can get even close to where we want to be here. So let's walk her around one more click. I'm going to have to stick my head in the view for a second. Alright, let's go around one ring. Do it again. Oh, went too far. Oh, I thought that was it. All right, let's start by pulling the timing gear off and setting her up right here. Here we go. So now we're going to go dot to dot on the gears. There's a gear right here, a dot right there, and a dot right there. Looks like we're not quite dot to dot, so let's adjust that. I got to find my ratchet. Turn the motor. Here it is. Give me just a second. I'll have to use my phone like always as my magnifying glass. Here's our dot right here. That's pretty close right there. So normally I'd degree a cam in. We're not doing that today. We're just putting it together. We're putting it together and calling it good enough. So this is the setting we're looking for when you're calling it good enough. Probably went too far. I did. So there it is. So now all you do is you put the chain on from here, pull the gear off, set the chain back around the gear. And this is an Edelbrock timing chain set that I've had laying around for I don't even know how long. I've had it forever and a day. And we'll get close to where we want it to be. Oh, look at that. It almost fell on immediately. So now all you gotta do is put bolts in it, which I'm just now remembering. I don't know if I have any. So we may not be going any farther than this. Then what we're gonna do also is we're gonna put this cam button in place. It goes right there. And that's where I'm gonna call it for the evening. So here we are. I'm gonna find some bolts for the cam. Probably be tomorrow before I put them in. We got the short block together now with the cam installed. I really probably need to put a thrust button or a thrust washer behind this cam plate here. It doesn't quite touch it, so maybe we'll see. Probably should. Probably need to put a thrust washer behind the timing set right there. But we're at a good spot to stop, so we'll stop here. And tomorrow I'll come out here and we'll finish it up. We'll get the lifters installed, heads on the motor, rockers, push rods, blah 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 blah. Bring you back when it's time. Alrighty. Well, I came back out for a minute. I found some bolts for it. Halfway bolted it up. A couple of them, one of them's still loose, but just to get a good idea of what we're looking at here. Well, the cam button I apparently have right here is, I guess, for a big block because it ain't even close. That thing has got a half mile. When you put the cover on, you can't get the cover to even think about clearance. So, and this is a non-adjustable roller cam button. So I went on Summit and ordered me a few of the nylon buttons for it. So we'll get those in and we'll be good to go after that. So I guess for the time being, we're waiting on that button to get here before I do anything else. I just decided, like I said, I wanted to come out and do that real quick and, you know, kind of play with it a little bit more and make sure I didn't need to order any parts. And now I'm glad I did, because I might have it today or tomorrow. I might have it tomorrow or the next day now instead of 2 days from now, you know. So we'll order that guy and get it in, and I'll clean the head surfaces one more time and drop the heads on it tomorrow. But that gives us a good place to start. So I guess I'll see you when I get that cam button and we'll start putting the heads on and all.